maybe occasionally he'll be in the slot, but he's going to be an H-back, mostly lining up in the backfield in very small doses. I'm going to say he might throw it a couple of times a game on run-pass options.
So he's going to be Taysom Hill.
What's that?
He's going to be Taysom Hill?
I'm not even sure he'll get as many opportunities as Taysom Hill gets. But I'm going to say he throws it a couple times a game. I'm going to say he runs it, I don't know, 3-4 times maybe a game. It all depends on goal line situations, nose for the goal line. And just the rub-off effect. Nobody understands the contagious football charisma of Tim Tebow, the force of competitive nature that he is better than Urban Meyer understands it. And he knows that just having him on the field, having him in the locker room, having the presence of Tim Tebow will ignite and inspire younger players. They know about his mystique. They know what happened. They're not too young to understand.
The 50th guy on the roster ain't rubbing off on anybody. Hey, it's not happening.
He will make plays for this team. Just plays here and there. Just watch. He may line up occasionally in the Wildcat. They may snap it directly to him every once in a while. And you cannot tell me he won't help Trevor Lawrence know the ropes, learn the ropes.
He didn't know them.
What are you talking about?
Know what ropes? He couldn't read defenses.
I'm talking about how to handle the brightest spotlight in NFL history. Was there any more focus on any one player than on Tim Tebow in 2011 in Denver? He was it. He was the story of the whole year as the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Nobody knows like just the gravity, the magnitude of spotlight better than Tim Tebow. He can help. And furthermore, he can take a little pressure, a little bit of the attention off Trevor Lawrence in a good way early on to let him ease into the job.
Think about this, Skip. Urban Meyer gets the job, his first job as the NFL head coach. He gets arguably one of the Mel Kiper says he's the 4th-rated quarterback that is ever graded in 43 years of doing it. And one of your big acquisitions, you signed Tim Tebow. Really?
Yeah,
really. After 6 years of being away from the game, after 9 years of not playing in a regular season game, this is what you do.
I want to make a quick point here that's very important. It's not like Tim Tebow went away from competitive sports because he has been fighting his butt off for the last 5 years to play the sport of baseball, where he had been out for 11 years, started completely over, and amazingly made the all-star team at AA. Amazingly made it all the way last year to AAA. Amazingly was on course to be with the Mets this year in spring training.
And then what happened?
He knew what happened. His head coach from Florida got the job at Jacksonville. That's what happened.
Hold on. You mean to tell me you're that close? You scratched and clawed. You've been at this.
His first love was always football. He said it from the start.
I get all that.
He was forced to play baseball.
No, he wasn't forced. No, his inability to play the quarterback position forced him to go to another trade. Exactly. And he thought he was that good of an athlete that he could switch sports after not playing a sport for over a decade. And now he comes back. Skip, you told me, you said the NFL turned its back on him. So they still did. So why is he back?
Because his college coach understands Tebow magic.
There you go.
Well, he had huge success with him. And he said, I could have Tim Tebow. I could have him for a few big plays a game. I'll take him.
I love how you read off all those stats. But has there ever been any other Heisman Trophy winning quarterback that didn't make it in the NFL? What about running back? What about Biletnikoff award-winning wide receivers? Has there anybody that's had college credentials like Tim Tebow not been able to make it in the NFL?
There is only one Tim Tebow that I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like what he did for your Denver Broncos in 2011. Never seen anything like it. Have you? You ever seen anything like it?
Skip, I've seen a lot of guys that have college acclaim and cannot make it in the NFL.
I do too. A whole lot.
Yes. He's one of them.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
Really? Oh, well, then how did he go that year with the Denver Broncos? He got thrown into the fire. Well, how about the year before? Do you remember the 3 games he got to start? Because Josh McDaniels, what did I say before the draft? I said it on ESPN many times. I said, hey, Tim Tebow, I'll take that guy. Just let me have him late in the first round. I was ahead of the curve on this before the draft. Let me have him late in the first round. And if you run the Urban Meyer offense for your pro football team, he will win games. I said he won't make a Pro Bowl. He'll just win games. And what happened? Josh McDaniels, of all offensive geniuses, said, I'll take him with the 25th overall pick. And what happened the next year? Josh got himself fired.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, Tebow was adrift in Denver because the guy who picked him was gone. So what happened at the very end of the year? They were a sad sack team. In the last 3 games, they said, let's let the kid play. He's a raw rookie. He's not started a game. And he goes out to Oakland, and he rushes the ball for 78 yards in the rain. And I said, God, that kid can play. And then against Matt Schaub and the Texans at home, I'm sure you watched this game.
I think it was the last game of the season, maybe.
What's that?
Might have been the last game of the season.
Second to last game. Tim Tebow, that game, threw for 308 yards. I thought he outplayed Matt Schaub, and he took the Denver Broncos on a late drive of 81 yards in 12 plays, and he scored on his own from the 6-yard line, nose for the goal line, to win the football game 24-23. And that led to a San Diego game that he rushed for 94 yards, and I said, he kept it close all the way, and I said, you know what? He can play. So what happens the next year? New regime. Your man, John Elway. John Fox is the head coach. And what do? Oh, we love Kyle Orton. Let's go. We hate this Tebow kid. He can't play. Not a good practice player. Never impressed anybody in practice. You can ask Urban about that at Florida. And they fell to 1-4 with Kyle Orton. And finally, John Elway said, let's just get this over with. They're clamoring for Tebow. Let's show them just how bad Tebow is. So they go to Miami, and they win in overtime. And Tebow commences to have the #1 QBR in the NFL over the last 5 minutes of the games he starts from there on. And he goes 7-4 in the regular season. And that was pretty good, because that was the 7th best starting quarterback record that year. 7-4 was pretty good. And guess what? They rallied to win the division. And guess what? He turned the Broncos into the #1 rushing attack in pro football, because they went to ride and decide, read option with Willis McGahee. Willis rushed for 1,194 yards, and Tebow threw in 660 rushing yards in just 11 games. And it was a joy to watch, because they were keeping games close because they would just run, and then Tebow would make plays to win the game.
So in order to play that style of football, what must the defense be? Exceptional, right?
They were pretty good. There were moments that they weren't very good.
But think about it. Now, you remember they were down to Miami 15-0. And the defense shut them out the rest of the way, and Tim Tebow and them ended up winning the game in overtime, right?
Yeah.
See, you keep telling me the last 5 minutes, but why does he have the #1 quarterback rating in the last 5 minutes? What about the other 50-plus minutes? So what's he doing in that time?
Well, they mostly ran the footballs.
Was Tim Tebow running the ball?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. And do you remember that Thursday night game against Rex Ryan's Jets? Do you remember this on national TV? Could we see the run that won the game? Do you remember this?
Yes.
He's rolling out. He can move a little bit now. I'm not saying he's a great runner, but he's pretty good. And all of a sudden, he's in the end zone at the buzzer. He just keeps it and keeps it and keeps it. Safety took a bad angle on the blitz, cut inside, and there was nobody home. And he just runs it for a touchdown that wins the game. It's Tebow magic. It's what he does. It's what he will do occasionally for the Jacksonville Jaguars next year.
So as a tight end, you know, I'm a fairly good tight end. We'll have a little knowledge of this. I mean, tight end got to catch the football.
Okay.
Hey, Jim,
I don't think he'll ever line up at tight end.
Jim, can I get it? He got to catch the football at some point, whether he line up there or not. Hey, Jim, we got any footage of Tim Tebow running a route, possibly catching the football?
Tebow is
That's Tim Tebow.
Now Tebow in motion. Sanchez looking that way.
Now, I don't know if anybody knows this, but when they throw something on the field, it's probably the football. You might want to catch it instead of duck.
Well,
it hit him on the head.
He hadn't even turned around. The ball was in his face. And plus, the DB got a hand on it.
DB ain't touched it.
Okay. Yes, the DB did touch it. He knocked it down.
He hit it, and the ball hit him on his head.
Okay. The
ball
DB
hit him
got a hand on the football.
No, Skip.
He wasn't even looking for the football. And plus, did he line up at tight end there? I don't think he did. He's like an H-back.
Skip, that's my point, is that you have to understand that you got to get your head around to give the quarterback a throw.
I don't think you're going to see many downfield routes from Tim Tebow at all.
So what is he?
It's an H-back. They're not going to announce we signed him as an H-back. That's what they used him in Florida. Go back and look at all the film of his freshman year at Florida. That's what you're going to see over and over again. So, how did they use him? Small but dynamic packages. Contagious.
So they're not going to throw. So H-back catch passes. I started as
a swing passes.
No. I went down the field. I mean, most H-backs catch the ball.
Well, he's not going to be a tight end like you were a tight end. It's just not built that way. That's not why he signed him.
You just told me you just bet everything that he was a better blocker than me.
Well, that's for a fact. At 250 pounds, what did you weigh at your apex? 220?
228.
228?
Yeah.
I promise you he weighs 250 pounds.
Yeah, but Skip.
And you want to talk about heart?
But
You
Skip-
want to talk about want to?
Skip,
You want to talk about
But
desire?
Skip, he's never really blocked anybody before.
Well, I don't